Hello, and welcome to week 40 here in my Stitch Circle Show Challenge. If you just have hit the video here, I will tell you a little about what this challenge is about, and if you're a regular reviewer or doing the challenge, bear with me if you have to listen to me saying this every week here, but for the new ones, the challenge here is a year-long challenge where I every week put a new challenge up, a Dogma Rule embroidery challenge. And below here in the description box or the little word more, you can find a playlist and go and find week 1. And there I will explain much more about what this challenge is about, and look at that. And then there is a video for every week where we're doing different things every week. I think this is the short version of that. And I can tell you I'm the host, and my name is Lisbeth. I'm Danish, and I am an abstract mixed media artist who likes to do all sorts of other things. And amongst them is slow stitching and stitching, and trying to renew the embroidery and doing other things with embroidery than you perhaps normally would do. And that perhaps reflects some of the, there's a reflection of that in some of the challenges, but not all of them. There's a nice mix of embroidery on fabric and on paper or cardstock or watercolor paper, and different kinds of fabrics and different kinds of threads, and all kinds of things. And this is meant as a help for you, so when you have if you do the challenge and when the year is over, you will have 52 or perhaps 53, I don't know how many weeks there are in this year, but of small embroidery pieces you can then use as ideas for if you don't know what to do. Then you can run through all your small pieces and samples and think, oh, perhaps I can mix week 11 with week 13, and then I can do this and that. That is a great inspiration you have when you're done with the year. But enough of me talking. Let us begin here with week 40. I keep all my weekly challenges here in a cover I have sewn together, and I have sewn some small books together just with a simple pamphlet stitch. And there is a link also in the video for how to sew such a cover together. There also is a link for the Facebook group where you can apply if you would do the challenge. Don't apply if you don't want to do the challenge. We don't want we only want members who are active and want to do the challenge, so people can inspire and look at each other's things. But you don't need to have such a book. You can do with your small embroidery things, or swatches, or what we can call them, pieces, whatever you want to do. You cannot put them in a box. You can sew them in a board sketchbook. You can sew them onto an old sheet or make a scroll. You can do whatever you fancy to do with them. It isn't a must to put them in a book. And you can see mine here is getting quite chunky, and I don't know if it will stand to the end of the year, but then I will have to make another cover because I want to have mine at the same place. But I have just made mine in with 2 signatures, so I can put one in here in each. It's like something you slip into an envelope. So I will just take this one out and only keep this one here in for right now. But this is where I left you last time. So here is the next spread, and this one will be ready. So I will put that aside for now, and then I will tell you what the rules is here for week 40. Rule number 1, find a dark brown or a very dark blue piece of fabric, only one piece, and I haven't decided yet if I want to use this or that one. So that I choose the brown. And then rule number two, yeah, and of course trace a circle like we always do. And rule number 2 is to sew only the fern stitch, and I will show you how you sew the fern stitch in a moment. And I want you to sew a asymmetrical or a random grid, and på dansk så betyder grid gitter, and that means, yeah, perhaps it is easier if I show you here on a piece of paper what I mean. And then I will have something to go with here. So here is my circle, for instance. And the grid is normally, that's a grid, or et gitter på dansk. And this is quite symmetrical, but I want you to sew it totally random or asymmetrical, or what you can call it. And then you go the other way. Like this. So there's nothing that is exactly the same, only that it is straight lines. And then I want you to sew the fern stitches on that lines, and they can go both ways. And here they can go that way or that way or that way or that way. That is totally up to you how many of these lines you will make in your grid, and which way you will turn your stitches. So that is what I mean by sewing an asymmetrical grid with fern stitches. And I want you to use beige, off-white, white, cream, ecru, or what you can call these kind of colors here. And I want you to use different thicknesses of thread in your sewn grid. That is the only 3 rules here for week 40. So let us start. I have these 2 pieces of fabric, and it is some quilting fabric. And I think I will go with the one with dots on, and then I can use this next. Sorry. I haven't been singing this morning yet, or talking very much. But I will save this for next week, and then I know I will have a nice spread in my book. So, but I think this is a little too flimsy for my taste to stitch into. So you know me, I always want to back my pieces up with a old piece of sheet or something. I think it is nicer to have something more sturdy to hold on to. So the way I do it, and I have shown this many times, but I sew these 2 pieces together with invisible basting, and that is a very easy thing to do, and it is a very easy thing to do if you want to put 2 pieces of fabric together, or sew something together where you don't want to see the stitches. And I know this is dark brown and my thread is dark brown, so you can hardly see it. But in many of the other videos for the other weeks I have done this. But you come up, and then you go a couple of threads back and come up ahead of you, or ahead of this small back stitch, about a centimeter or so, and then you go down again and the smallest back stitch and come up again, and so on. And I've shown you so many times, so you probably all know the way to do it now. So I will just do this all the way around here, and then I will trace my circle. And I think since this is impossible for me to do with my normal pencil, I will do it with some white chalk. and then I will stitch the circle also, so we can see it here in this dark fabric. So yeah, now my thread is tangled up, but I will be back in a sec. So done with the basting, and I was just using some ordinary machine sewing thread, the thinnest one here I have in the house. So now I will trace a circle, and let me see. Yeah, that is too big. And this is just a set of something to punch cookies out with, I think. I bought in our local supermarket. And I think this one is better in size if I do it inside the circle. There it is. And sorry if my hair is getting on my head. Whoops, that was crooked. There. So I will just hurry up before it dusts off here. And now it started heavy raining here outside. If you can hear something. Yeah. But never mind. I'm sitting inside. So I will just do the line here with running stitches, and I have taken my normal mercerized cotton thread here for that, and I think I will make them quite small. So, but you don't need to see me sew all this circle around. You can do that, I know it. And if you don't want to do it, that is also okay. There. But I will sew all the way around and be back. Now I'm nearly all the way around, and here, when you're nearly all around, you have to eyeball it so you make stitches that are nice and it looks like it's okay here. This could have been a little smaller and this could have been a little bigger, but I don't think it matters so much here. And then I can brush my chalk off here. Yeah. So now I'm ready for the fern grid. And I have another thread here, so I think I will start with that. And now it is up to you if you want to do your grid when your fabric is lying like this, so that would go this way and that way. But you could also offset it and say, yeah, go this way or this way. That is totally up to you how you would do it. But I think I will just go with the horizontal and vertical on how the fabric is lying here. But of course you can do it like this. But I think I will perhaps get seasick if I do that. So I will just do it this way and that way here when my fabric is lying in like a square as it is here. And then it is up to you if you want to trace the line you are stitching onto. You're welcome to do that if it's easier for you. And I think perhaps I will do this with the first one to see how easy it is to stitch a straight line. So I will find my ruler, and I will find my little piece where I normally show you how to sew the stitch. The right way to sew it is like this, and I have traced a line here. You go up here and come up where the line is, and then you go down here and out here, there, and down again in the same hole. Now you have a little, like a chicken feed. And then you come up here at the line again, go out there, come up in the same hole here again, go down in the previous hole where the 3 legs are there, and then you go come up here again and go down in the hole here again. So you can see it is like 3 straight stitches looking like chicken feet. And this is in the books they always show the stitch to the right and the one in the middle and the one to the left, but I don't think it means oh sorry, I was nearly saying a bad word, but I don't think it matters if you're doing them in another what is it called in English? If you're doing it opposite, or if you're doing the one in the middle first, I don't really think that matters, because it would look exactly the same. So for instance, if I come up in the middle, come up in the same hole again, and go down to the left, come up in the same hole again, go down here to the right. You can see that they look exactly the same. You can't see the difference, but in all the wise books they do the right, the middle and the left, but I don't think it matters very much if you do it the one way or another. But it is not like sewing a single fly stitch. You have to go down in the same hole with the 3 legs here. That is the fern stitch. Okay, so let us start on the real piece. I've just traced the line with my charcoal, and I will do it as I just have told you. Here, and up in the middle, and down in the same hole here. There. And out there. And then down here for the next stitch. There. So out here, down in the same hole, up in the previous hole, down in the same hole here, there, and out here, and down to the next stitch on the line here. There. That is small fern stitches, and I think it is a nice name. And in Danish, if you translate a fern, in Danish it is called bregne, and I think that is a great name. Or the same name for this stitch, yeah. Again up, yeah. I think you can sew them in many different ways, but I don't think it matters so much as far as it looks like this here. And then again come up here on the line somewhere there, and don't no loops here, so there. But I will sew this all the way down, and then I will decide where to put my next lines. We're done with the first line, and I think they look nice, and if you've sewn them correct, they look exactly the same on the back side, but don't, it doesn't matter if they don't look the same on the back side, but they have to look like this. So now I have taken a thicker thread, and I think I will make a line. Yeah, where do I want it? I will just make a line here, I think. There. And then I will turn it upside down or the other way around. And then I will sew them the other way, so they are going the other direction, but it's exactly the same. Here I come up, down in the same hole, up in the line, and up in the same hole. And I'm a little excited to see if this thread is too heavy, because if it is, I will take double of the other thread. But let us see if I can manage. And of course you can make your stitches as big or small as you like. Sometimes you have to sew a little to see if you like it. It is not always, if you have imagined something in your head, that it ends up looking nice. And you have tried it and you have noticed that you didn't like it, so why continue? Pick it up, choose to do something else. You learn something along the way of what you like and what you don't like. Yeah, but I think it looks quite nice because you can really see the difference between the thickness of the thread here. Yeah, I will sew this down and then decide what to do. Done with that row, and you can see clearly a difference in thickness of the thread. And perhaps you think it is obvious to do all the lines that way first, but then when you turn it the other way and are going to do the lines that way, all the lines here will be going over these. So I think I will start now making 2 lines, perhaps going this way also, and then I can see how it looks. And I think perhaps I have estimated it a little too crazy, because I think there would be very crowded some places in here, but you can of course stop and only sew where there is fabric and not over the other stitches, or you can choose or go over the stitches. I don't know that if I would do this or that yet, but I will see to it when I reach that point. So I think I will just make me a line here. There. And then I will start up, and then I start sewing exactly as I have done the other times, and when I reach that point I will see what I will do. So done with this line, and you can see when I reach the previous row there, I just stopped, so I haven't stitched over the stitches there was there already. I think I like that. I can see I'd lost some of the line there. It is going a little wood, but that is what it is. So I think this is the way I'm going to do it. I won't be sewing over stitches there already, but you can do that And perhaps another place I will do that. I don't know that yet. So now I've changed thread again, and now I will just make a line here, and yeah, like that. And then I will turn it this way, so they are going in the opposite direction. And then it is just exactly the same again. And here it is always, I don't know why you always get to stitch into your knot on the back, but I nearly always do that. Yeah. And of course you can vary it, the what is it called? Yeah, I don't know the English name for it, but the direction you are choosing. You can go this or this here when you're doing the stitches, depending on how narrow a row you will make or how wide a row you will make. But that is also something you can consider, and how big you want them or how long you want them. That is up to you. Isn't it nice that something you can have an opinion of here, or you can choose what you want to do. But I will sew this also and see what happens next. So now I have been a little all over the place, and there again I took a very thick thread like this thread, but it's two different ones, and you could see I have, if we call these the legs, I have different directions of the legs here. There they are much more like this, and there they are much more like this. And this is also a way you can vary it. And yeah, there are many options, but I think it looks quite nice with this, like I'm going over and under and not stitching over the stitches there already, but that's just my taste. And now I have taken just some ordinary machine sewing thread, or thread for sewing your clothes, to get an even thinner thread here and see if I can make a row with that. And let me see here which way I want that. I think I want it here. So again, I will just take my ruler and make a line here and try to make them really small. And you can see sometimes the stitches is going this way, and sometimes they're going that way, and I think that looks nice. It is quite thin thread compared to the one I just have stitched with. So that is a very small thread, this one here, or not small but thin thread. Yeah, and you can see they can be much smaller here with this. But I will sew this row and then decide what the next step will be. Perhaps a thinner one here also on the other, going that way, perhaps there. But we will see. You can see here a little closer. So done with all the stitching, and I think it looks okay. It is what I have imagined, and you can see I have variated the thread, the thinnest one, and I think this is the thickest one. And you can variate how big or small you want your stitches, and you can variate the angle of these two stitches, so you can see if you want them narrow or wide. And there are many ways you can do this, and I think it ended up okay. So now I will put it in my book. I have already written the Dogma Rules, and I will take my double-sided tape here, if I can find the end, and it is here. And of course, if you have a book with so many pages, so you can have a embroidery on and don't have something on the back of the side, that is, then you can sew it in. I can't sew it in because I have my embroideries on every side, and I don't want to sew through and onto a thing on the back side or on the other side. I don't know if you can call it back sides when, yeah, but yeah, it went well. And up here we go, and I have taken a picture already, and there is and the thread, and you can see I have just written it there. So on with that. So now this is sitting there. It is funny, this yeah, and let me lift it up. This thread there is just ordinary white machine sewing thread, and it looks quite different. It looks almost purple or pinkish compared to the other colors, so I really don't know if I should have taken another color there perhaps, but yeah, that's too late now. So in with my book here again, slide it in here, and again there. So there it is. I will take some close-ups at the end of the video and find another substrate for that. Okay, I hope I have given you some inspiration, so you want to do this yourself and do it your way, but with the Dogma Rules I have set. I also hope you have got some tips and tricks for your embroidery here. And yeah, this was week 40, so only 12 or 13 weeks more to go. Time is going so fast this year, yeah. So, but I know what color I want on this side here next week, because I already have chosen that. But what I will do on this side, yeah, you never know. And I don't know yet either, but I will figure something out. So I will only say, if you have liked my video, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very helpful of you, and I would appreciate it very, very much. But else I would only say, be creative, and please take care, and please be nice to each other. That's the only thing we can do in these times here, or us ordinary people here. That is to be nice to your neighbor and your, yeah, especially if you have one, your closest ones, your hubby or your kids or your old mother or whatever it can be. Please do that. But I will see you next Thursday for another Stitch Circle Show Challenge. Bye bye for now.